What's going on, everybody? It's your girl Thickness with the Quickness, and you are watching me on my YouTube channel, baby. But before we get started, I want you to like me, share me, like and share me with anybody you like and you love. Anybody you like and you love, okay? And don't you forget to hit that notification bell, because every time your girl Thickness with the Quickness upload any kind of video, baby, you will be first to get notified. Y'all come on in here, y'all. Come on in here, okay, y'all? So, y'all, let me do this. Let me give a shout out to all my new subscribers. What's up, baby? I'm your girl Thickness with the Quickness, okay? And thank you for choosing me, baby. Okay, and let me give a shout out to all my old subscribers. What's good, y'all, baby, in the neighborhood? Okay, babies. Okay. So today, you guys, I have a story time, okay? I have a story time today, baby. And y'all, it's a good one, okay? It's a good one, okay? And it's funny, you know what I mean? So, y'all, go on and get your juju beans and your wham-whams, okay? And make sure you get all the babies up out the room, and all you sensitive people, y'all go ahead and leave the room too, okay? Because I might be doing some little cussing up in here. You know me. You know this mouth right here, okay? It say what it want to say and do what it want to do, okay? Okay, so y'all go on and get your juju beans and your wham-whams, and y'all don't meet me here, beat me here, okay, y'all? Okay. Boom! And we back, y'all. We back, y'all. And we back, y'all. And we back in the back, and that's a fact, y'all. Ooh, I just feel like dancing, baby. Because when you in a good mood, baby, you want to dance and let the world know about it, baby. When you happy, baby, you want the world to see you happy, okay? But you got to be careful, because people see your happiness. They want to be on your down. They want to downfall you, okay? But, baby, I'm covered. I'm covered in the blood of Jesus, okay, y'all? So, y'all, let's get on started with this story time. All right, y'all, since Thanksgiving is coming near, all right, this is a Thanksgiving story, y'all. I gotta share with y'all. Now let me tell you, like I said, if you're sensitive, you may go ahead and just go ahead and leave, okay? Because I might be saying some stuff that might step on somebody's toes, but if you know where I'm coming from, this is just what happened to me, okay? It's my story, and I want to share it with y'all, okay, y'all? And to me, I think this is a good story, because at the end of the day, we still okay, we still cool with one another, okay? And that's what I like about this here. So this is like 2019 Thanksgiving time, okay? So, y'all, I had already went and got all my little juju beans and my wham-whams from Thanksgiving and everything. So I had forgot a few little tools and fuels. So I had to run out to Walmart. So I run on to Walmart and stuff. So I went there to go get me some stuff to make some dressing. I had to get some stuff for my macaroni and cheese, and then I had to get me some sweet potato pie crust. I had the sweet potatoes, but I didn't have my pie crust, okay? And what else I needed to get from over there? And I needed some hot sauce. I will still remember this, because this was something to remember. So anyway, I'm in Walmart and I'm shopping and stuff. I'm looking around for my stuff. Actually, I had just got there in the store. So, you know, I'm still kind of like browsing around in case I forgot something and I could just grab it too. So I'm just browsing around and looking around and things like that there. So you know how you come down the aisle at Walmart and you know the little freezers that's in the aisle, those, okay? So me, I'm just doing a little peekaboo, you know, I'm just looking to see if they had anything on sale, you know? So I'm just doing a little peekaboo and everything, but I'm, you know, strolling on with my little cart, you know, I'm just pushing it through. So I'm steadily looking. So I looked up, I noticed that I seen a black man and a white woman, okay? We're just gonna keep it 100 with you, okay? I'm not here to offend nobody, okay? I don't want to offend nobody. I'm just gonna tell you this is just what happened to me, all right? So if I offend you, I'm sorry in advance, all right? So anyway, it was a black man. I'm just gonna tell you how it was a black man. It was a white woman. They was together, okay? So they was in the freezer too, but they was on the other side of me. So they was coming towards me, and I was going, you know, towards them. So either way it go, we was gonna bypass each other. Okay, so I'm steadily in there looking to see what they had in the freezer and whatnot, and they was looking down in the freezer. So they was on the side where the chitlins was. Okay, so anyway, I'm they're talking, and they kind of got a look, and I heard they was talking, and I heard her say, well, I don't know about him. I don't know about it. And he was like, I know you don't know nothing about him, like that. And so I'm just standing in there, you know, at the time, y'all, when they started getting a little bit louder, then, child, I started ear hustling. Who won't ear hustling, baby? I had just started ear hustling because I wanted to know what their conversation was about. But I knew what it was about because they were standing over there by the chitlins, which I had passed by the chitlins myself, baby. They had the red buckets, you know, they was running for $25 a pop. And then they had auntie, what's her, you know, the auntie, I don't know her name. What is the name of those chitlins? You know, I don't remember the name, but it's called Aunt Bessie. Okay, I think it's Aunt Bessie. Those was running about at least $17 a little bag. Okay, so anyway, I hear him saying to her, don't even look at him because you don't even know what you don't understand if I try to explain it to you. Then she was like, what are you talking about, honey? What are you talking about? And like that. So me, I began to ear hustle because I knew they was talking about the chitlins. Okay, well, they call them the chitlins, we call them chillin'. Okay, so he was like, I sure want some chitlins for Thanksgiving this year. Man, I sure want some Thanksgiving chitlins. He said, I am so mad that I gotta work for the holiday. If I wouldn't go work for the holiday, I'll get on the road right now and go to Chicago. I'll go home so I could be with my family because I know they got chitlins there. Like that. So then she said, well, baby, I can help you with that. I can do chitlins. He said, oh no, you can't do no chitlins. He said, what did you talk about? He said, I'm not gonna even ask you to do no chitlins. He said, what you talking about? No, honey, I can YouTube it. I can find out how to cook chitlins, honey. I can find out. He said, you don't look on no YouTube to do no chitlins. He said, you got to be a professional to deal with these chitlins. He said, I don't eat everybody chitlins. He said, I wouldn't dare ask you to cook chitlins for me. Like that. So she was like, oh, honey, it wouldn't be a problem. I know I can look on YouTube and find out how to make chitlins. He said, we're not going to keep on talking about it. Just like I said, I sure wish I didn't have to work this holiday because I would go home to my family and I would eat some chitlins with my mama at my mama's house. Like that. And she was like, and he was like, you know, kind of a little aggressive with her, you know, and she kind of started looking a little sad. He was like, he said, what's wrong with you? You can't get upset about something that in my culture, what we're used to doing. He said, everything that we do in my culture, you can't get on the internet and look it up like you look up all the other shit that you be trying to find out about me and my culture. And she was like, honey, I know someone can teach me how to do chitlins on YouTube. He said, I'm gonna tell you one more time, you are not going to make chitlins for me. Do you understand me? Like that. And I was like, ooh, shit, this shit getting good, you know? So my ass still ear hustling. I'm like, I done already picked up the motherfucker chicken nuggets 3 or 4 times, but I'm back at the chicken nuggets again because I'm just trying to ear hustle to see what was going on. Like that. And then he was like, come on, let's hurry up and get the rest of this stuff, and I can't get no chitlins for the holiday. I'm real upset about that. And so when he said that, at that time I looked up and get ready to push my buggy and push off. He looked at me and he looked at me and I looked at him, and you know, and I turned off and I kind of smirked a little bit, and he looked at me, he is kind of smirked too. So I just kept walking up. So in my mind, I'm saying to myself, like, damn, he hounding her about them damn chitlins. God damn, you know what I mean? He is really hot behind them damn chitlins, like that. So I'm going on down the aisle and stuff. So I get to the aisle where I need to get me some cornmeal to make my dressing. So I get the cornmeal. So as I get in the cornmeal, they come down my aisle. She gonna say, baby, I just don't understand what the problem is. I know if I look at the find on internet that I can know how to, if I look up on YouTube, I know I can know how to make some chitlins. I can clean chitlins. I know what it is. What's the big deal about it? What's the big deal about it? He said, it's a big deal about it. And he said, I know you wouldn't be able to deal with it. She was like, honey, I can do it. I know I can do it. He said, didn't I tell you that I do not want to talk about the chitlins no more? Like that. So she was like, you know, she was like, well, okay, honey, but I know it can be done. So I'm like, damn, he's still going off about these motherfucking chitlins and shit, right, y'all? So I proceeded to, you know, walk past them. So when I walked past them, he looked at me. And he looked down in my cart. He said, it looked like somebody making dresses for Thanksgiving. And I looked at him and smiled and I said, yep, I am. He said, I see you got everything you need for dressing. Oh, okay. He said, oh, you missing some sage. I said, I already got it at home. He was like, oh, okay, cool. Well, you know then. So I was like, yeah. So I proceed to walk past them, y'all. I go on around to the next aisle. Y'all, I'm over here drinking some, you know, it's getting cold out. Time that you be sipping on your teas and things. So I'm sipping on my tea again. So, I love tea. I drink tea all year round, y'all. So anyway, I go on around to the other thing, around to the other aisle and shit. So I'm down the other aisle and shit. So I'm getting my, at this time, I think I'm getting something for the sweet potato, picking up the pie crust and shit. So I picked the pie crust up and I'm like saying to myself, like, man, I don't even know how many pies I'm going to make, you know, because I usually send pies home with my kids, you know, because each one of my kids, they want like 3 pies a piece. So I'm sitting there counting the pie crust like, okay, how many pies I'm going to make, this and that and another. And I'm just figuring it out and shit, getting everything that I needed. So here they come again. I'm like, why every time I'm in the motherfucking aisle, y'all in the aisle? You know, that's what I'm saying to myself. So I began to laugh inside, just giggling, busting myself up, laughing. And they walking, and she was like, baby, what else do we need? He said, I don't even know, or I don't even care. I really don't care. I'm just all messed up right now. She was like, well, you need to know the list. What else we were supposed to get? You know, we only supposed to get a few things. What else we need? He was like, I don't know. You figure it out, you know. And I'm saying to myself, I just took a deep breath, like, this dude, you know, the word I really want to use, you know, I'm like, ooh, this dude here is really, you know, he really hot about these damn chitlins and shit. So I come past them again and shit. So when I came past them again and shit, he's like, oh, you making sweet potato pie too? He was like, damn, you gonna have a good Thanksgiving, it looks like to me. She was like, sweet potatoes pies like that? She said, yeah, I make good sweet potato pie. He said, no, what you make is pumpkin pie. He said, you don't make sweet potato pie. You make pumpkin pie, baby. You don't make sweet potato pie. He was real nice that time. He said, you make pumpkin pie. Sweet potato pie and pumpkin pie are 2 different things like that. And she was like, well, she said, well, you said dressing. I make dressing too, don't I? He said, no, you don't make dressing, honey. He said, you make stuffing. He said, stuffing and dressings are 2 different things, honey. Like that. So then he looked at her like, you know, just be quiet. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way he looked. So then he said, oh man, he said, you making, so he looked back at my buggy and he was like, so, oh, you making sweet potato pie too? Dressing sweet potato pie? Oh, he said, oh, that's going to sound like going to be a good Thanksgiving meal. He's like, how many sweet potato pies you going to be making? I said, you know what? I really don't know. I said, but so far in my head, that's how it looks like I'm going to be at least making about 10 of them, maybe 10 or 11 or 12. I said, I don't know, because my kids, they like their own, you know, they want 3 apiece to go home to their house and things like that. He was like, man, that's a lot of sweet potato pies. Okay. And I was like, yep. So I'm like, okay, good day, good people. You know what I mean? So I keep on poaching around. I keep on poaching around with my little buggy. I go down the other aisle and shit. So I go down the aisle, y'all, to go get me some hot sauce and shit. You know, you cannot have a Thanksgiving dinner without no hot sauce. Baby Louisiana, baby. Louisiana, I love y'all. Y'all need to sponsor me, okay? So you know you can't have no dinner without no hot sauce. So anyway, I get me some hot sauce. I get the really big one, you know what I'm saying? Because Walmart done got ridiculous with the Louisiana hot sauce now. So I get the real big jar of Louisiana hot sauce. So as I'm walking through the aisle and shit, I grab my other hot spicy hot sauce that I like as well. So I got that as well. So anyway, I'm pushing on through. So I get down to the end of the aisle, y'all. I get to the end of the aisle. They turn right in with me. So I'm on my way out the aisle. I passed them by. He was like, you got Louisiana hot sauce. I said, yes, I do. He said, don't tell me, don't tell me, don't tell me. He said, you are from Chicago, right? I was like, yes, I am. I am from Chicago. And y'all already knew where he was from. And I said, where are you from? He said, I'm from Chicago too. I said, yeah. I said, okay. He said, I knew it. He said, just what you had in your card. He said, man, you from? He said, don't tell me, let me tell you. He said, let me tell you where you from. I said, where you gonna tell me where I'm from? He said, you from the west side? I say, yes, I am. He said, oh, me too. I'm from the west side too. Like that. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like that. So I go ahead and I'm on my way out. So, I started pushing myself on to the get ready going to the front of the line, but I had jet back because I had forgot something. So I ran over there and got what I needed from over there. So as I'm coming out, get ready to walk to the line, him and her, they walked up. We met up together like this. So he was like, you getting ready to check out? I'm like, yeah. He said, so you making, he said, tell me. He said, tell me, please just tell me, what are you having for Thanksgiving? And I told him everything that I was having. He was like, he said, I just want to be a fly on the wall and just see y'all get down like that. And I said, oh, yep. He said, let me ask you a question. I said, what? He said, do you clean and cook chittlins? And I kind of hesitated. I say, yeah, I clean them. I can clean them and I can cook them. He was like, when the last time you cooked some chittlins? Even take 3 years ago I made some, but I made just a small little pot. Really, really small pot. And he was like, what? He said, so you tell me. He said, I ain't gonna even ask you. He said, so I know you know how to clean and cook chittlins. I said, yes, I do. I said, yes, I do. Like that. So I'm saying in my mind, I hope this man ain't thinking that I'm going to cook some chittlins and clean some chittlins. I don't even know this dude. And baby, when I said that, he didn't hesitate. He said, look, he said, I got to work for this. He said, I got to work this holiday. He said, I can't go home Thanksgiving or Christmas. He said, only thing that I'm asking for this Thanksgiving is me some chittlins. He said, my mom is at the crib in Chicago. And he said, I couldn't dare have her, to mail me none. I say, no, you can't have her to mail you none. And we started laughing behind that. And he said, I'm just going to come straight out with you because I know you're real and I'm just going to come straight to you with it. I said, what is that? Like that. He said, don't look at me like that. I said, I want to know what you finna ask me. He said, girl, don't play. I said, no, you don't play. I said, what you gonna ask me? He said, I want to know, would you cook me some chitlins? Would you clean and cook me some chitlins? I said, what? He said, yeah, I want to know what you clean and cook me some chitlins. I say, are you for real? He sound for real than a heart attack. Back in the old day, he old folks like me. He said, I'm for real, girl. I bullshit you not. I'm for real, girl. I know you don't know me. I don't know you, but I trust you. I want to know, could you clean and cook me some chitlins? I say, for real? For real though? He say, for real though. So I say, I say, woo! I say, you asking me a question that I'm thinking on, So in my mind, I didn't want to say yeah, and I didn't want to say no, y'all. Because after I heard him fussing and cussing and talking to his girl like that, I was like, this guy really want him some chitlins, So he said, come on, please. I said, yeah. I said, for a fee, I will. He's like, no problem. He said, would you do it? I say, yeah, for a fee, I will. Like that. He said, oh, money ain't no object. Money ain't no object. I said, with that being said, I said, all right then. If money ain't no object, I say, so first of all, I say, how much we talking? Okay. I say, how much we talking? Okay. And I say, I don't clean the red buckets. The red buckets with the white top, I'm not going to fool with them at all. He said, well, okay. He said, okay. He said, hold up. He said, baby, go stand over there, and then I'm go back here and talk with her about these chittlins. She was like, babe, I told you. He said, you told me what? He said, go on over there where I told you to go. Go stand over there till I get back. So he said, come on, let's go back down here where these chittlins at. Okay. So he said, my name is, let's call him Pete. Okay. I'm gonna call him Pete. He said, well, how you doing? My name is Pete. And what's your name? You know, so I told him my name and stuff like that. And he said, I'm so nice. He said, I'm so glad to meet you. He said, I'm so glad I came in Walmart today and I met you. I said, you really? Really? You know, so he said, girl, yeah. He said, come on, let's go look at these chittlins. So we go back there with the chittlins. I said, we get your chittlins. I said, okay. I said, let's not even look at these red buckets, because I don't care how much money you're offering me, I will not clean these red buckets of chittlins. Do you understand me? He said, I got you, mama. I got you, mama. And I said, okay, then. I said, let's move over here to Aunt Bessie. Okay, I think that's the name, Aunt Bessie. So we looking at the price and stuff. And you know, Aunt Bessie chittlins, they're about this big. You know, I think a 5-pound bag, 10-pound bag. I really don't know. He said, okay, so we get over there. They like $17 a pack. Let's say $17, $16, because they're very expensive, but you don't get but a little bit. Like that. I said, these are the only ones that I will clean for you if we do it. Okay? And he said, okay. He said, okay, I'm cool with this price. He said, because ain't nobody, he said, my daughter will come over. I might be able to give her a little some. And he said, my son will come over. I might give him a little some. He said, but y'all, I'm only going to give him a fork full. And that's all he said. He said, I'm only going to give them both a fork full of chittlins, and they love chittlins. And I was like, okay, cool. He said, well, so how about 4 bags? I said, 4 bags? I said, you want me to clean 4 bags of chittlins, and Thanksgiving is right around the corner. Like that. I said, are you serious? He said, yeah. He said, I want you to clean 4 bags for me. He said, because you know, once they boil down and all of that stuff, you know they don't be nothing but a little pot or something. I said, yeah, that is true. I said, but damn, I said, you asking me to clean you 4 bags right here, right now. And I'm like, Thanksgiving right around the corner. You know what I mean? I got shit to do too. You know, he's like, I know, sister, I know, mama, I know, you know. So I say 4 bags. I said, okay, you said 4 bags. And he said, so now I said, okay, I'll do the 4 bags. He said, so now what you going to charge him? He said, because whatever you charge me, he said, baby, I'm going to pay for it. I said, no problem. I said, 4 bags of chitlins. We like maybe 5 days away from Thanksgiving. Okay, cutting it to my shit that I gotta do. And I was like, and I gotta clean them and cook them too. I said, ooh, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work in short notice, like that. He was like, okay, baby, okay. He said, so give me a price, like that. So I was like, yeah. I said, okay. So I gave him a price, y'all. I ain't gonna tell y'all what I charge him, okay? But I gave him a price, you know what I'm saying? And to me, that was reasonable, okay? And it was perfect timing too, you know, because, you know, right after Thanksgiving, you got your little Christmas shopping. So that was right on time for me, because that was a little extra money. So I was like, okay, cool. So when he agreed to what I said, because he was like, are you for real? I said, no, I bullshit you not. I said, that is how much I want for cleaning these chitlins and cooking them for you. And then I got to freeze them and bring them, you know, freeze them so you can come get them, or however you're going to do it. I said, I got to be involved in all of that stuff. You cutting into all of my time. He said, all right, mama. He said, man, if I didn't want these chitlins, baby, I would tell you, hell no. And I was like, yeah, but you want these chitlins, so you want to say, hell yeah, like that. And I was like, okay, cool. And I said, you trust me? He said, the way you looking and shit. He said, hell yeah, I trust you. He said, just the way you standing here looking at me, I know you a clean person. He said, I ain't worried about you. He said, you from the west side. I know how we get out. You know that. And like that. So yeah, we chit-chatting. We got the little, you know, the little price. I got the little chittlins and shit. He was like, I should throw another bag in him. And I said, you need to throw another $1 too. Pow. And make me holler. He was like, no, I ain't gonna do it. He was like, shit. Cause next year. I say, next year? I said, what you talk about next year? He said, girl, come on. So we get up to the register, y'all, and stuff. So we got the chitlins in my basket and shit. And we get up to the register. So we get to the register and shit. So I get right behind them. So he paid for their stuff and he looked down at my stuff. So he put the chitlins and stuff up there, and he put they stuff up there, and he looked down at my stuff and shit. He said, put your stuff up there. I was like, what? He said, put your stuff up there. I said, you gonna buy my stuff too? He said, I said, put your stuff up there. So I was like, okay, cool. So y'all, he even got all of my groceries, what I had in my cart, and he paid for it. So anyway, we end up paying for everything. So we going to the cart. So he tell her, take their food to the cart while he walk with me to my car, and we exchange phone numbers and things like that. So when I get done with his chitlins, I just have to call him and let him know that they're done. Like that. So we exchanged numbers and everything, and he put my groceries in and everything. Y'all, when I tell you a cool cat, when I tell y'all a cool, smooth cat, and he was a little bit older than me too, so you know he kind of had that little swagger to him. Little old cat, cool. I call him Cool Daddy, cool, okay? So he like putting the little groceries in and this, that, and other and stuff. So I'm just looking at him and talking to him. So we just talking and chit-chatting back and everything. He said, all right, then. He said, well, nice meeting you. He said, I know it's crazy where we met, but he said, you know, when you meet good people stay around. And I said, you know what, you are so right. He said, I got a feeling about you. I know you're a good girl. I said, of course I am, baby. Okay. That's what I said to him. So anyway, we bullshitted around for a few minutes. He said, all right, well, he said, even if you need anything, he said, just call me. Like that. I was like, okay, cool. I said, cool. Okay, definitely that. You know what I'm saying? He said, even if you want me to bring an extra bag of chitlins over there, I can bring it to you. I said, no, we good. 4's enough. We cool, but you got pop that money. He said, you know, money ain't no object. He said, girl, let me go. So he ran on and went to his car and shit like that. So I'm in the car driving home. I'm like, now how the hell I'm going to pull this off, clean the chitlins? I got a whole bunch of shit that I got to cook for me and my family. I'm like, I got to figure out how to do it. Oh, y'all, I forgot to tell you. Okay, before he left and shit. So I was like, okay, well, we got all that squared out. I said, and I'm going to need a down payment. I told him the price and everything that I needed, you know, to make the chitlins for him. I said, and I need a down payment. He said, no problem. No problem. I'll give you a down payment. So anyway, he ended up giving me, like I said, when we was talking and shit, exchanged numbers and all that shit, he gave me the down payment for the chitlins. And I was like, okay, cool. So anyway, I'm riding home. I'm like, how in the hell I get caught up like this, y'all? All because I was ear hustling on somebody's goddamn conversation. You know what I mean? I'm like, how did I get caught up like this? You know, like that. So anyway, y'all, like I said, it had cut into my time. So that made me had to go home and get started cleaning on his chitlins. So I had to, sit them out, so I cleaned them all off. I didn't clean the chitlins. I just had them, you know how I get home, I spray my shit down with bleach and shit. So I cleaned them all off and I just set them in my sink and shit. So I set them in my sink, overnight. They got unthawed. So first thing that morning, I jumped up, took care of myself and got my shit together and went downstairs and started fucking with these chitlins. Y'all, usually when I make a lot of chitlins, I will clean a chitlin, every day, 1 pack every day if I'm making them. You know what I mean? It depends on how many. If I got 4 chitlins, I'm gonna clean chitlins for 4 days. Okay, I got 2 chitlins. If they ain't too much a bigger deal, I'll clean them in 1 time or clean them 2 days. It just depends on how it goes. So I'm like, damn, I got 4 things of chitlins. I say I ain't got that much time around the corner. Thanksgiving is basically knocking on the goddamn door. I said, let me just get up and get these motherfuckers clean and get them on out my way. Cause not only I had to clean them, I had to clean them 3 or 4 times. Then, you know, you gotta let them boil maybe 4 or 5 times and shit. Then pull that off, then boil them again and pull that off. And then you begin the cooking process. So that was gonna be a lot to do. So I went ahead, I knocked the 2 bags out early that day. Then the next day I got up and I knocked the other 2 bags out and shit. And then that's when I started beginning to do the process of cleaning and everything. So anyway, I got them all cleaned out and everything. I got them cooked and everything, and you know, got them right, you know. So when I got through getting them all right and shit, you know, I called them. I say, hey, I say your chittlins is ready. I say I was gonna just put them in the freezer and freeze them. And then I was gonna put them in a Ziploc bag. I said I was gonna put them in the freezer and freeze them. He was like, "Hold up, how you gonna freeze them?" I said I was gonna just freeze them. He said, "You mean to tell me you gonna put some chittlins in a Tupperware bowl?" I say, "No, I wouldn't dare put no chittlins in a Tupperware bowl and freeze them." I say, "No, you get the freezer Ziploc bags. That's what you freeze them with. Freeze them in." He said, all right, yeah, girl, you know what you talking about. I can't wait. I know them damn chittlins gonna be so goddamn good, and I ain't getting nobody none like that. And I said, boy, like that. He said, I'm gonna stop messing with you. I'm gonna stop messing with you. He said, I know you know your shit. I just be trying to run. I just be trying to put you on your tippy toe. I said, you ain't gotta put me on my tippy toe, cause baby, I stay ready. I ain't gotta get ready. I stay ready. And so everything like that. So it ended up, so I'm thinking, he was like, well, I'm at work right now. He said, well, I don't get off until late tonight. He said, so I know I can't pick them up today. He said, well, just go ahead and just, you know, freeze them, and I'll just come and get them, you know, or you can meet me at Walmart and I can get them there. I said, any way you want to do it is fine with me. I'm cool with it. Like that. So anyway, I Ziploc the stuff, put in the freezer and everything. So sure enough, that next day he called me. He was like, hey, he said, I got to run to Walmart. He said, you doing something in the next 2 hours? I said, no. I said, I'm in the midst of doing something. I said, but I can put it on hold to bring you your stuff to you. Like that. He said, okay, cool. He said, well, meet me at Walmart in the next 2 hours. I said, no problem. Like that. He said, when I get there, I'll just call you. I said, cool, do that. So anyway, I headed on out to take him his chitlins. And they froze, y'all. So I take him on over to him and I meet him and shit. So when I got with him and shit, he get the chitlins and shit. He doing this before I get to him. He doing like this. He said, ooh wee, I can't wait. Like that. So I get handing the chitlins and shit, and he took them out the bag and he looked at them, because it was a nice amount of chitlins, y'all. He had about that amount when I got done, because I took the scissors and I cut them up real nice and small so they could stretch. So he had a nice amount of chitlins. That's plenty enough for him and his daughter and his son if he just gonna only get him a fork full. Okay, that's more than enough. So anyway, honey, I went ahead and shit. He looked at the chitlins. He said, I can smell them through this plastic bag. I said, oh, I know you can. Like that. And we laughed. And he was like, so how much I owe you, mama? I said, you know what you owe me? Like that. So he peeled the little money off to me and whatnot. And he handed it to him. And he peeled it one more back. And I was like, oh, okay. So I get my money, and she stood in front of me. I counted my shit. He said, oh, you ain't going to walk away and ball in your pocket. You just going to stay and count it with me. I said, yeah, I don't trust nobody when it come down to business. He said, I got you. So I stayed in there popping. I'm like, oh, nah. I said, you forgot something. You gave me more. He said, no, that's for you. I said, oh, how nice. He said, yeah, that's for you. He said, that is for you for not going off on me, for me asking you to clean some chitlins. He said, that is for you for being so nice. And he said, for you being so kind to me, for me to be a stranger, you know, to trust me, you know, to ask you to do something. You know what I'm saying? He said, that was just thank you for just out of the kindness of your heart. He said, that extra is for you. I was like, oh, I said, you so sweet. I say, thank you very much. Like that. And he said, now while we on the subject of talking, he said, I'm going to be off for Christmas. He said, you think you can make me some more chitlins I say, look, for a price I can. He said, yeah, I know. I got you. I say, I don't mind doing it. I said, but if you want me to make you some chitlins for Christmas, I say, this is what you do. I said, you call me 3 days after Thanksgiving, and then we can set something up like that. And he said, okay, cool. I said, because that'll be better for me. I said, this first time I ain't gonna even trip with you about that, because you didn't know me, I didn't know you. It worked out fine for both of us, right? And he said, yeah. I said, so if you want me to make you some chitlins for Christmas, I said, I have no problem by doing it. I said, but just call me 3 days or either 4 days after Thanksgiving and say, hey, you think you could do some chitlins for me? You know what I mean? Just that, because the courtesy call would go a long way. That way, it'll give me a chance to know what I got to do and how I got to do it and when I got to do it. You know what I mean? And he said, yeah, I know what you mean. Like that. So anyway, we settled that and everything, and sure enough, he called me a couple of days, 4 days before Christmas, and he was like, girl, he said, yeah, he said, you're gonna have to make these chitlins again, because I hadn't heard from him no more after he got the chitlins. He didn't even call me and tell me they was good, and I'm walking around the house, I wasn't worried. I was like, this food could at least say how they taste, but I already knew they was fire. But I'm like, damn, you could have called me and say how they taste. I hadn't heard from him. So sure enough, 4 days later, he called me. He said, girl, when I took a bite of them chitlins, he said, girl, I almost flipped my rooftop. He said, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. I'm going to keep it 100 with your sister. He said, those chitlins taste better than my mama. And he said, you better not tell her. I said, I wouldn't dare. He say, baby, those chitlins were so good. He say, man, God is good, because man, he sent me a blessing, especially when I have to go to work during a holiday. He said, I don't work all holidays. He said, but I work every other holiday, every other year I work the holidays like that. And he said, I be at home, girl. He said, you just don't be knowing. I be wanting some cooking. I said, yeah, I get you. He said, so yeah, I want you to cook me some more chitlins. And he said, this time, he said, I'm going to ask you, can you do me at least about, I asked you to do 4 this time. He said, I want to know, could you do at least 5 or 6 bags? I said, oh, no, honey. I said, oh, no, you didn't ask me to do no 6 damn bags of chitlins. He said, yes, I did. I said, well, He said, yeah, I know it for the price. He said, well, hell, since you charged me that amount last time, he said, hell, I might as well go ahead and give me throw me 2 more in the mix of things. I said, well, for the price. If the price is right, baby, tonight is your night. He said, I know that's right, girl. He said, I just want to tell you, baby, them chitlins was so good. He said, I got a quick question to ask you. I said, what it is? He said, do you got any more? He said, do you still got a sweet potato pie? I said, what? He said, do you got any more of those sweet potato pies? I said, yeah, I got about 2 or 3 of them in there. He said, you think you can give me one of those sweet potato pie, or just give me a slice of one? I said, are you serious? He said, we family now. I said, well, yeah. I said, well, yeah, we can say we family like that. He said, yeah. He said, girl, give me a slice of that sweet potato pie. I said, you really want this sweet potato pie? He said, yeah. I said, okay, cool. I said, yeah, I'll give you a slice of sweet potato pie. I said, matter of fact, I'll give you a whole one. I said, I'm going to put it up right now, and whenever you get ready for it, just let me know. And he said, okay, good. Cool. He said, I got another question. I said, what is it? He said, my daughter want to know, do you know how to do, can you cook her some? She said, first she asked me, do you know if she could cook some dressing? He said, hell yeah, I know she could cook dressing. She had dressing stuff in her cart. My daughter want to know, can you make us some, well, I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna say us, because she really wanted to know, but I'm just gonna say us. My daughter want to know, could you make us some dressing? And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, my daughter want to know, can you just make us a small pan of dressing for Thanksgiving too? I said, so you want me to make chitlins, and you want me to make some dressing? I said, now what else you want me to make? He said, no, that's it. I was like, okay. He said, well, it depends on how good this sweet potato pie is, because I might ask you to make me a sweet potato pie. I was like, boy, okay. But y'all, I just looked at it like it was just a blessing for God. Really it was with this guy. Still today, he's just a blessing for God. Because, I mean, when I'm telling you a cool, sweet guy, sweet homeboy, brother, love guy, cool, y'all, sweet as hell. So anyway, y'all, I end up making him and his family some more chittlins. And I made them some dressing and stuff. And I did give him the sweet potato pie. And he loved that sweet potato pie. He couldn't stop talking about that sweet potato pie and everything. So, and yeah, y'all, and so I told him out of a joke one day. He had called me during the holiday, because he had got to a point that he didn't only call me around the holiday to ask me to do these things for him. He's to a place where he calls me a lot just to check in on me, see how I'm doing, how the kids doing, and things like that. You know what I'm saying? He does that often. So anyway, y'all, so my smart aleck ass, I'm on the phone talking to him just recently. I'm on the phone talking to him, and so I was like, well, I've been cleaning chittlins from you for a long time now. You know what I mean? I say, so when you gonna send your wife over here so I can teach her how to do it? He said, man, I gotta go. Man, if I could reach through this phone right now, girl. If I can reach through this phone right now, girl. He said, man, I gotta go. I was like, okay. So I have to start cleaning chittlins. Today is November the 6th. Okay. So this weekend, y'all, I have my hands full. Okay. I have my hands full to get these chittlins cleaned up for him, y'all, and everything. And yeah, you know what I mean? I got my hands full. I've been cleaning chittlins for him since 2019 all the way up to 2025. Now, sometimes it be a price, but sometimes it don't be a price. I just do it for him on the brotherly love. Yeah, that is it, for this story, because I've been cleaning chittlins from my brother for a long time, y'all. We have developed a good relationship, good friendship. He even came to the house and ate Thanksgiving dinner with us, ate Christmas dinners with us. He done been to the crib on Easter. We done had some good times together, and we still do. You know what I'm saying? It just depends on what we got going on and everything. But yeah, y'all, even when I get ready to travel, like one year I went to Florida, and I went to Florida for Christmas, and I knew that he needed those chittlins cleaned for him, y'all. We went to Florida in December. I went ahead and cleaned chittlins that whole month of November. I started off a week or two in the end of October. I started cleaning them chittlins for him like at the end of October. By the time Thanksgiving came around, I had all those chittlins done. I had his Thanksgiving chittlins done, and I had his Christmas chittlins done, because I left to go out of town that Christmas. So anytime I'm traveling or going somewhere, y'all, I still look out for him. I still take the time out and get them chitlins cleaned for him, because I know that he wants them chitlins, y'all. That's just the story of how I met a stranger and ended up making chitlins for him, and we became the bestest friend, best sister and brothers that it is, y'all. But yeah, y'all, that's the end of the story, baby. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I love talking about this story because it brings so much joy into my heart, and I always smile when I tell the story, because hey, I just look at him as a blessing for God, from God, to me and my family. But y'all, yeah, but that is the end of the story, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this story, y'all. And baby, Thanksgiving is coming. Y'all get down in the comments, let me know what y'all having for Thanksgiving. If y'all gonna do the same old thing for Thanksgiving, or you gonna do a little twist or something. You know what I'm saying? Because one year after Thanksgiving, y'all, we had a motherfucker whole big ass seafood boil, baby. We had seafood for damn near 2 or 3 weeks. We had so much seafood, baby. We had to take that seafood and freeze it. We had so much seafood one Thanksgiving. So yeah, y'all, I don't even know what my menu is looking like. I know for sure that I'm not gonna do any turkey this year. So I don't know if I'm gonna even do a ham this year. We don't know. But my youngest kids, they love ham. Me and the oldest kids, we kind of, I don't like ham at all. I do not like ham, and I won't eat it. If I eat ham, it probably just a little teach. I never liked the ham. All while I was growing up, I never liked the ham, y'all. So y'all, that's another quick question. Now I'm gonna get up out of here. Y'all put down in the comments what you didn't eat when you was a kid, okay? For Thanksgiving. When your mom made Thanksgiving dinner, what you did not eat when you was a kid. And y'all, I'm finna tell y'all everything that I did not eat when I was a kid growing up on Thanksgiving, okay? I did not eat no hams. I did not eat greens. I did not eat potato salad, okay? I did not like sweet potato pie, okay? What else I didn't like at that time? I never liked it. I never ate chitlins, you know, at that time when I was younger. I never liked to eat. I didn't eat chitlins at that time. And what else I didn't like when my mom used to cook? Oh, man. Only thing I did like was the cake and the turkey. That's all I ate when I was coming up. The turkey neck and the turkey wing and the turkey drums leg. That was the only thing I ate. Anything else, y'all, and I mean, I was like that all the way up until I was at least about like 17, y'all. But by the time I became a grown adult, that everything my favorite but ham. I eat everything but ham. Still today, I do not like ham. You can't make me eat ham. I do not like it. If you see me got it on my plate, I'm just got it on my plate to make it look pretty. Okay, watch out now. But so y'all, thank y'all for listening to this story, y'all. Okay, I want to say happy Thanksgiving to y'all right now, and I'm going to say happy Thanksgiving to y'all again. Time is time to give and be thankful for everything you got, okay? So in the meantime, between time, baby, give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me. Okay, y'all. In the meantime, between time, y'all, God bless. And y'all stay safe. And I'm out of here. Peace. Bye-bye.